Welcome back to Dirt Road Sessions. Today we're going to be stepping into a chapter I like to call The Rambler. It's a story about a man who could never really sit still long enough to even believe that he belonged anywhere. He's the kind of guy who keeps a bag packed by the door, not because he's running from something, but simply because he isn't really sure what he's chasing, I guess. He's lived by back roads, barroom lights, and the quiet truths a man only hears when the night gets still. And in all of his wanderings, you might just find a piece of your own story, possibly. The places you almost stayed, the people you almost loved, and a version of yourself that maybe you almost became. So settle in and pour yourself something cold, and let's ride a few miles with the Rambler. Hope you enjoy. A Delta boy is born with a restlessness that runs through him like the rivers that cut across the land. The Delta, with its wide fields and flat horizons, can feel both like a home and a cage. There's a pull to it, strong as the pull of the earth itself. But there's also an urge to break free, to see what lies beyond those fields, beyond the familiar sights and sounds of what have been a part of him for as long as he can remember. He grows up with the dust of the turn rows in his veins, the thick summer air heavy with the scent of earth and crop. There's a comfort in the rhythms of that place, in the way the seasons turn, in the way the river swells and recedes, in the way life follows the same patterns year after year after year. But that same comfort breeds a kind of discontent, a nagging feeling that there's more to life than this, that the world is wider and wilder than what he's ever known. The restlessness is there from the beginning, a quiet whisper that grows louder as he gets older. It's in the long, slow afternoons when the sun hangs high and the time seems to stretch out endlessly. It's in the nights where the moon casts its pale light over the fields and the sound of the distant train whistle stirs something deep inside him. He feels it when he looks at the maps his father kept in the drawer, tracing routes with his finger, dreaming of places those lines might lead. So he leaves, like so many Delta boys before him, hitting the road with nothing more than a bag slung over his shoulder and a heart full of unanswered questions. He heads west, or maybe east. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that he's moving, and the world is passing by outside the window, and he's no longer bound by the edges of the field he once knew so well. He roams from town to town, city to city, working odd jobs to keep himself afloat, meeting people who come and go like the seasons. The restlessness pushes him onward, always onward, because he's searching for something. But he doesn't know what it is. Maybe it's a place that feels like it could be home, or maybe it's just the feeling of being free, untethered, or unbound. The road is long and the days blur together, the series of sunrises and sunsets that mark the passage of time, but not much else. He learns that the world is both bigger and smaller than he imagined. Bigger in the possibilities, in the endless stretch of highways and back roads that seem to go on forever. Smaller in the way that each new place starts to feel like the last. In the way that people all carry the same hopes, the same fears, the same dreams that he left behind in the Delta. And yet, the search continues. He thinks maybe he'll find what he's looking for in the mountains, where the air is thin and the world feels closer to the sky. Or maybe it'll be in the desert, where the heat strips everything down to its bare essentials, where life is reduced to nothing more than survival. But no matter where he goes, the restlessness is still there, gnawing at him, pushing him forward. He thinks back to the Delta sometimes, to the flat fields and slow rivers, to the people who stayed behind. He wonders if they feel it too, that quiet discontent, that need to roam. Or maybe, in their own way, they found the peace that he's still searching for. But the road calls to him, and he keeps moving because it's all he knows, and it's all he knows how to do. He doesn't know if he'll ever find what he's looking for, or if it even exists. Maybe the search is the point. Maybe the wandering itself is what makes him who he is. A Delta boy with dust of the earth in his veins and a heart full of questions and the wide open road stretching out before him. Maybe a rambler is something you feel in your bones, a restlessness that gnaws at you like a hunger that can't be satisfied. It's the need to keep moving, to see what's beyond the next hill, to never stay in one place for too long. The road calls to you and you follow it, not because you have to, but because you can't help yourself. There's something in the unknown that pulls you forward, the promise of something different, something new. You travel light, carry only what you need, a worn out bag, a change of clothes, the memories you've collected along the way. You learn to let go of the things that weigh you down, the expectations, the plans, the ties that hold you back. You live for the moment, for the thrill of not knowing what's around the corner, for the freedom that comes with not being tied to anyone or anything. The world becomes your home, and each new place is a blank slate, a chance to start over, to reinvent yourself. You meet people, strangers who become friends, if only for a night. You share stories over a bottle of whiskey or a cup of coffee in some dusty diner off the highway. They tell you about their lives, their dreams, their regrets, and you listen, knowing that by morning you'll be gone, another face in the crowd, another memory that fades as the miles roll by. There's a loneliness that comes with being a rambler, but it's a loneliness you've made peace with. It's the price you pay for freedom to go where you please, to be who you want to be. You learn to find comfort in the solitude, to see the beauty of the silence as an empty road, the stillness of a desert at dawn, the quiet of a small town as it wakes up to a brand new day. But being a rambler isn't just about running away. It's about searching too. Searching for something you can't quite name. Something that keeps you moving even when you're tired, even when the road is long and the nights are cold. You're looking for a place where you belong, a place that feels like home, even if only for a little while. And maybe, just maybe, you're looking for yourself. Because out there in the wide open spaces, away from the noise and the expectations of the world, you start to hear your own voice again. You start to see yourself clearly, stripped of all the things you don't really matter. You find out who you are when there's no one else around to tell you who you should be. Being a rambler is about living on your own terms, about embracing the unknown and the uncertainty that comes with it. It's about finding joy in the journey, in the simple pleasures of the road, in the wind in your hair and the sun on your face, the feeling of being truly alive. It's about knowing that no matter how far you wander, there's always a part of you that's searching for a place to call home, even if that home is nothing more than the next stop on the map. And maybe that's it's meant to be constantly moving, constantly searching, but always finding something worth holding on to, if only for the moment. It's a life that's not for everyone, But for those who hear the call of the road, it's the only life worth living. I hope you enjoyed that. It came from my last book, When the Music Fades. If you did, slide on over to my YouTube page and give it a like, a follow, and share, and subscribe, and all that stuff, and help me grow it to where I can keep telling stories from back home. Thanks a lot. Thanks for listening. Y'all have a blessed day. Bye.